What's going on, YouTube? The Last Musketeer here, and this is the very first day of the Eternal Evolution free-to-play Is It Worth It series. Now I do have to apologize first off because I noticed that the quality of the video itself was a little choppy, it's a little potatoey, so I'm gonna have to adjust that and I'll do that later on in the video, but we're gonna go ahead and get started off. I like to check the shop because it really speaks to what the game's all about at the very start. I kind of know what I'm able to get away with and what are the other people, the light spenders, maybe the whales even, are going to get straight off the bat, and what kind of advantage they're going to have over me. So it's important to kind of take this in and understand just how much I'm going to have to do to try to keep pace. And I kind of also decided to make a mental note of the cost of each of the diamond packs, because that generally is what you use for summons early on, and free-to-play players probably going to have a lot harder time of getting these crystals, though hopefully through the campaign and completing other various missions we should get a decent amount to try to compete. Alright, so I'm grabbing a pre-registry pack. It's got some pretty juicy rewards, especially for a free-to-player. Epic Hero, hopefully it's a semi-decent one. They're usually not big fans of giving those. Now here is the point of the video where I fixed the quality and the smoothness, so hopefully the first part wasn't too much of an eyesore for you. So first things first, this game kind of gives me a StarCraft feel. Like it's very sci-fi, robots, humans, monsters, of which we crashed onto this planet. So we're kind of just now getting an introduction into what the wildlife is like. Here is the central hub where most of our stuff will take place outside of the battling. Now the summon screen is interesting. Most of it's locked currently. The novice and the friendship banner are both open, and if you'll notice, one recruit summon is 300 diamonds. Now in the diamond store, that was the equivalent of $4.99, so you can already kind of tell where this is going. And just off first impressions, this tells me that more than likely, not just whales, but your light spenders are probably going to have a much easier time progressing than you are. There are a lot of packs that are probably around $5, some of them recharge like $2, where they're going to get so many more heroes than you, and you're just going to have to put in a lot more work if you want to stay competitive. Now I hope that's not always the case, but as we move on to these missions, which give decent rewards and seem to have somewhat of a progression for free-to-play, I can't help but think that whenever this runs out, and you've done most of the content that you can do, especially in the first week, that I'm not sure they're going to have enough content to keep you going and keep you progressing enough to even stay somewhat competitive. Now there are clan modes in this game, and perhaps, you know, that's one way you can kind of stick together. Maybe as a unit, you could perhaps have some type of milestone in the clan thing that, you know, maybe will give you those extra rewards that you need to be able to push just a little bit farther each day. Now as I look at the hero screen, I notice that it does seem to be your typical idle RPG, wait for the units to spawn in, pull them in, upgrade your character, try to progress to the next level to get even more rewards per hour, and hope that that's enough to keep going. I know I may sound a little biased in that sense because I'm not a big fan of idle RPGs. I think they're decent content, but they're kind of more of a complementary game, in which if I'm watching TV or maybe playing something else and I'm waiting on a loading screen or waiting for my friend to join, I could play this in the meantime and just kind of glance at it and hit a button here or there. Do bear in mind that these are just my first impressions. Maybe my opinion changes as time goes on. I still have quite a bit of time left before the series on this one is up, so hopefully they do enough to change my mind on that. Now with that being said, we're moving on to the campaign, and I will say get used to seeing this because this is what you're going to be seeing most of the game. I have ran through probably about 4 of the acts as of the end of this video, and The environment barely changes, the monsters change a little bit, and you will see my account kind of progress as far as getting a bunch of new epic champions after doing these summons and so on and so forth as far as gear, but it leaves a lot to be desired in the sense that I have the same kind of musical track playing in the background, the same environment for the most part, other than, you know, some color here or there, maybe some new plants. The monsters do change a bit. I guess that's varied on what part of the planet we're on as we get our ship fixed later on in the act and we start to move around a little bit. Skipping ahead in the story a little bit, we got our first tin summon from the act. So we're going to go ahead and pull that, and I'm going to show you what the summon looks like, and it's alright animation, there's nothing flashy about it, just kind of a landing pod and opens to reveal your tin. And I gotta say, the summoning system itself is alright. It's not entirely disappointing, it doesn't have the greatest feel to it. Yeah, I pull an epic champ, but there are much better champs in the game that you can't get from these normal summons. It has a very select pull, in which that is very disappointing. As you'll see, I also got the same rare champ 3 times in a row, so that's fun to watch. 4 times in the full 10 pull. But at least I did get an epic champ out of it, which I will be able to throw into my party, and hopefully, and as I soon discover, they do seem to give you a bit of a boost. Now my limited summons are open, and I gotta say, the characters look pretty cool, but it shows off a new tier of SSS champion. So I'm using epics, and SSS seems to be the highest tier, and how you obtain those is seemingly only through the limited summon, at least for what I got through in day 1, as they all unlocked, and it just didn't seem like there was any hope, at least in the foreseeable future, for me to be able to grab one of these champions. It did show, however, that you can get a guaranteed SSS hero, and the featured one at that, in 60 summons, so the pity is of 60, and yet when I look around, the methods of grabbing these limited summon tokens for a free-to-player is very few and far between. I feel like I have to do a monstrous amount of work to be able to even sniff that part of the summon, and that in itself is extremely disappointing. Now, I don't want to seem like a Debbie Downer in all this, because that's not my intention. I want people to enjoy what they enjoy, and not just take my opinion and say, oh, throw this game away, because I haven't formulated a full opinion yet. I've still got plenty of time to do that. And I want you to enjoy what you enjoy, so don't go just based off what someone says. Do what you want to do. If this looks fun to you, go for it. You know, I'm going to continue to do it. I can't say so far that I'm going to be satisfied at the end, but we'll see how things change. And, you know, with all this being said, I don't want to stay on this topic, so we're going to go ahead and swap to some of the other game modes. So now we're at a spot in the story where we can start to walk into the Borderlands and look at some of the other ways to obtain materials, the usually timed events, the ones that reset daily, you can only get once kind of style. And this is the first part that we unlock, called the Wasteland. Now this seems to give pretty decent rewards for very little work, which is promising, but as you can see, it's just point, click here, do a battle, get rewards on the next stage, and so on and so forth. You have to fight a boss fight near the end to unlock the full rewards, and while it fits into the regular playstyle of the game, that's not exactly what I wanted to see from the extra parts. Go away from the regular campaign farming to doing basically the same thing here, just doesn't seem enticing to me. And as you can see, yeah, there's a lot of stuff to do, but how much of it is going to change from what I've already seen? And as someone who has played quite a few mobile games in my day, I have to say it leaves me feeling empty. Like, where's my sense of accomplishment for moving on to it? Where's my sense of discovery? I'm just not feeling anything that really pulls me in and tells me, yes, I really want to keep doing this. Now, one thing I wanted to point out was that the boss fights in the Borderlands section, were actually pretty cool. You have a mechanic where you can manually drag your abilities to drop in certain spots or to shoot in certain directions, so that the boss will have mechanics that you can only deal with by engaging manually, which I think is a better way to get people to focus a bit more and have them engage themselves more into the fight, instead of just watching and waiting for the next part of the auto to be done so you can click to the next part. One thing I will mention before I drag this video to a close, this Fatty's Treasure thing gives you a chance to get from 3 to 10 limited recruitment cards. I thought, you know, I might as well attempt it, so I opened the box, and when I did, I ended up getting 9 of the limited summons. Now, that's not going to happen for everybody. It's between 3 and 10. I got really lucky, but it'd be a perfect way to showcase what it looks like to do the limited summons. So I'm going to end this video out. We're going to have some summons going on. You can skip it if you want. The first two, that one and this one, are both basic summons. Next one, advanced summons, and the last one, limited. So, with that being said, I'm the Last Musketeer, and I'll see you in part 2.